Yeah, I know that you guys hear that a lot. You hear a lot of stories.
I'm Sarah from Italy. You hear that a lot?
Yeah, you hear a lot of stories from people like me who tell you how much you've changed our lives or you helped save our lives. I've been dealing with a chronic illness for years now and some related problems, including depression. So thank you so much, Jared, for all this good fighting. That means a lot. Really, thank you. Are my go-to place, and not only the show itself, also the show, but also the two of you in real life and your bond and your brotherhood. It means a lot in a world where people tend to bail on their friends and family when things get rough, just because it's easier that way and you find yourself alone. And so, you know, you two, you're sort of an anchor somehow, an example, and you gave me some hope in humanity back, so thank you for that. And so my question is, this is how I feel, but how do you feel today? You make us feel heard and seen and taken care of, but how do you feel today when you listen to these stories? Is it different from the beginning where probably you, I don't know, it was new and the impact you were having on people was more surprising. Now it's part of the family, but you've also grown up throughout the years, so probably you approach these things in a different way, emotionally. I don't know, maybe or not.
Yeah, I think, well, thank you, Sarah from Italy. Glad you're here. I hope you and all of y'all realize that as much as y'all feel like you learn from Sam and Dean or Jared and Jensen or whoever, we learn as well. And I think one of the things about our business and the way we approach acting, you have to be curious. You know, if you just walk into a character or to an episode of TV or a movie or whatever, and you think you know everything, it's not going to be very interesting. But the more people that we get to meet, you know, y'all meet us, we meet hundreds of y'all. And so we hear different stories. And I think he and I are both just curious about people as well. You know, there's some jerks out there, there's some assholes, obviously, and you can get, the more people you meet, the more you can go like, I don't really want to see them again. But then you meet other people, you're like, oh, like that's such a unique story. We all have our unique story. And so we're able to explore that on camera, and I think that bleeds into off camera. And so I feel very curious about people. I know Jensen does as well. Like, I feel like I learned from y'all. But I feel just as lucky to meet so many people as I'm sure y'all do, and some of y'all who will meet each other this weekend, or maybe met each other at JIB14 or JIB8 or wherever. We get to have those experiences too, and so I feel grateful to kind of be in a position where I get to meet so many different people, and it just kind of makes you, the more, what's that great quote? I think it's Aristotle. Like the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know. So I feel like the more people I meet from different backgrounds or, you know, different current situations, I'm like, oh yeah, like there's a big world out there. We're all going through something. So I feel very blessed to be in this situation. You know, y'all have to look at 2 people. We're looking at 600. So we get to kind of learn from everybody.
I think the way it's changed, kind of just, I think what you were asking is how has it changed from when we first started out to where we are now, is I think in the beginning when we found out that people were actually watching the show, and that it was last year, yeah, and that it was affecting them largely in a positive way. That was very gratifying and humbling and inspirational for us, and it excited us. We're like, oh wow, people are actually responding to this in a great way, and the feedback was awesome. As time has progressed, it's taken on something different. It hasn't lost that, we still get all that, but now it's more, it feels like more of a responsibility in the best way. Of now we have a responsibility to be, to take care of that, and to nurture that, and to make sure that it doesn't sour, and that it doesn't go away, and that people can still get inspired, and that people can still look to the show, or to us, or whoever, wherever they find their inspiration. We know that is something that he and I and the other guys and gals that have been part of this crazy experience, we don't take that for granted. We take it seriously, and it's something that we value greatly. And so, I mean, to say it's a responsibility, I don't mean that in a negative way, I mean that in the greatest way. It's something that we cherish, and it's something that we want to want to keep
Wanna nurture.
as safe as possible. And so it's taken on that. That's probably the most, for me, that's the difference between when we first found out to where we are now. And I love it. I'm so happy that it's transitioned that way, or that it's grown that way, because it does. It means a lot to us as well to sit here and hear you, Sarah from Italy, that you found inspiration in things that we've been able to put out in the world, and that's what it's about.
It feels like thank you. It feels like a tree. And to his point about in the beginning, it was he and I on set for 14-hour days or 16-hour days or
Just a couple of little sprouts.
Yeah, but like it feels like we certainly didn't do this alone. We didn't build the seed or build the park, but it felt for a long time that there's this tree, there's the seed. We're going to be the ones watering it, you know. And we had our crew and our writers and our fellow cast and all that, obviously. But it felt like there was a big weight on he and I specifically, he and me specifically. And so at first, he and I were taking care of this little seedling, and then it sprouted a little bit. It's like, cool, like, hey, it's out of the ground. And we kept on doing it. And then as the tree continued to grow, you show up to water it, and you realize that someone just watered it, and someone just pruned the branches, and somebody made sure to give it fertilizer or whatever. We're like, oh, now this is our tree. You know, this is no longer Jensen and Jared's tree that we have to take care of. It's like we're all taking care of it. But so the responsibility, I'm sure we all feel. And when he and I talked for years about when to, I don't want to say goodbye because that wasn't what it was, but when to kind of encapsulate Supernatural at the end of the 15th season, it wasn't like, hey, we're never going to go see that tree again. It wasn't like no one's ever going to appreciate the shade or grab an apple from its branches or something. It was like, okay, I think this is good right now, and it's healthy, and we can go back soon and see what else we can do if it's needed. I guess that's kind of how I think about it. Thank you all.